So there's been a lot of talk about who is QB1 for 2027. The NFL draft for 2026 is behind us. There was a lot of picks that we didn't think were going to happen in the positions that they did happen. So obviously a lot's going to change from this current moment where we're in May of 2026 and what happens in April of 2027. But it's always fun to start to speculate, at the current moment based off of what player ceilings are and like what they've done in the past. So let's start having that conversation because it's an exciting quarterback class and there's no secret that there's a lot of talent. And I think there could be some musical chairs and who goes where. But right now, let's talk about who quarterback one is. What do you guys have right now as your quarterback one?
First, I mean, I do like DJ Moore or Dante Moore. I don't know why I was going DJ.
DJ Moore,
Yeah,
the Bills wide receiver.
wide receiver. Yeah, I do think Dante Moore is definitely in the conversation. I feel like he just has more of the opportunity. I feel like he'll have more weapons. I feel like coming off of injury next year, and he'll be able to prove himself a little more. But yeah, I do like him. Honestly, I do like Arch. I do. The top three that I have are Moore, Manning, and Carr. I'm not saying, and I feel like they can all rotate at any point in the season. So I do like them as the top three for the quarterback position. I'm a little skeptical on Sayin just because of how he performed in the playoff and the Big Ten championship. So I feel like those are the top kind of three going into next season.
Yeah, so I'm going to skip over saying because I don't, and even Carr to a degree because I don't think they're coming out next year unless they both, one of them wins a Heisman. So I'm going to remove them. And obviously I've been snooping around in mock drafts because I can't help myself.
This is just for who's QB1 of the season. It doesn't have to do with the draft.
Well, either way, it's going to bleed into my argument or what I'm going to say. So I've been snooping around a lot and the Mensah love is real. Like it's real. There's a lot of people that think that Mensah is future Heisman winner, a future number one overall pick. And I'll be honest with you, if he could do it with Duke, what is he going to do with a Miami team? It's like, it's going to be, so while I think that it's probably more in terms of being like a potential first overall pick, just because I think he's a younger player. He's got some really good tape, be it some negative tape, but a year one starter essentially, and he did what he did. So, but I'm going to say three players like Kevin did. I'm going to go with in no specific order. Well, actually, I'll put it in order. I'll go Moore, Mensah, and I probably would go Carr because I do think that Carr is a sleeper for the Heisman. The reason I leave out Arch Manning, and I don't think I've hidden it on this show, you can go back, I'm sure Steve's clipped it a bunch, is the way he opened the season last year was just a disaster for me. And I don't think there was enough that he could have done to change my opinion. Now, if he comes out on fire all year and has a huge year, I mean, with the physical build that he has, it's going to be hard to deny him, but I can't emphasize enough. He's not Peyton. He's not Eli. Could he be Arch though? Yeah. Like he could be his own player, but a lot of people think that he's those two guys because they're family and he's just not. But yeah, I just think that Mensah with Miami is going to be very scary. Could be a Heisman winner. And I mean, he wins differently. The mental aspect for him is clearly there. Carr is just a wild card to me because I think that while I don't really care for Notre Dame, I mean, it's hard not to care for his ability. I mean, he's insane. And, Moore's just, to me is, how can you deny a guy that would have been the second overall pick if he came out this year, the number one spot, if he does it again? That's where I'm looking at it. I'm leaving Arch off entirely. For me, it's Mensah, Moore, and Carr.
So the past two seasons, we have seen transfer quarterbacks go number one and ones that we didn't even expect to be number one. Also, maybe not even be in the first round. I still remember when Mike started texting me last year. It was probably like week 3 or week 4. And he's like, hey, there's a lot of mock drafts that are starting to have Fernando Mendoza in the top 10. And he's like, I think it's a real possibility the Jets could get him. He started going. And I was like, I don't believe it. Come on, Indiana quarterback. The kid was at California last year. And next thing you know, he's the number one pick by the Raiders. And Cam Ward, come on, like he was, what was he, a journeyman? He was with Washington State. And
Incarnate Wood.
What's that?
I think it was with Incarnate Wood too. The whatever. I don't even know if they're Division II.
Yeah, like transfer portal. These guys just jump around 3 or 4 times, and they start out at, like, colleges we never even heard of, and next thing you know, they're chambliss. But yeah, Cam Ward, Washington State, everybody was like, good quarterback, but you always thought, like, maybe he's gonna be like, 4 through 7 rounds or, like, undrafted. He'll find out his way onto the NFL roster. And then he goes to Miami, and the guy's super accurate. He makes all the right decisions. Just seems like a NFL ready quarterback. And, obviously he went number 1. So there can be like, and I think there will be a surprise at some point. Maybe Carr or Mensah, maybe those are your surprises right there, because I think we know they're good quarterbacks. It's just, I don't think anyone's saying, hey, that's the number 1 pick in next year's NFL draft. So it could be possible. I like Carr a lot. I like Mensah a lot. I thought Mensah at Duke, oh my, like the fact that he won the ACC championship with Duke and almost threw 40 touchdown passes, like that's just unreal. Like that doesn't happen at Duke. It's a basketball school. I'm still going to go with Manning as my number 1 pick for next year. And it's deeper than just the name for me. It's what I saw when I watched some of his later games. I think once Manning starts to get the confidence, you're seeing we talk about 5-tool players in baseball. What is that? That's somebody who can do it all. They can throw, they can field, they can run on the bases, they can hit for average, they can hit for power. I think this, in terms of a quarterback, Rich Manning is your 5-tool player because he can do everything. He can throw the ball deep. He can be accurate when needed. He has some zip on his passes. He can take off. He's a big physical body. It's like checking every box of like what you want out of a quarterback. Now show me you can do it consistently on the football field, and that's why he came back this season. He needs to do it this fall. He now has all the weapons in the world. I mean, they had a great transfer portal. Um, the Texas Longhorns. They shored up the offensive line. They brought in one of the best wide receivers in the transfer portal. They brought in 2 running backs that would probably start on like 95% of the teams in the country. So there's no excuses for Arch Manning this season. If he has a start that he had last season, I'm out on Arch Manning. Don't even draft him in the first round. If he comes out and he lights the world on fire, then watch out. Like that's your number 1 pick next season. So I'm going to go with he's going to do very well this year. The only thing that makes me have reservations is he went back to Texas. And I don't like what Texas did with Quinn Ewers because I think Quinn Ewers was in the correct program. He could have been a higher draft pick than he was. And he could have done a lot more in college than he did. He had a very good, don't get me wrong. Quinn Ewers had a very good career at Texas, but I just think there was more to Quinn Ewers that he could have offered. And it makes me scared. Like, is Texas going to do the same thing to Arch Manning, who was a highly recruited quarterback? So, yeah, when we talk number 1, Arch Manning, I think my number 2 is Dante Moore because he was going to be number 2. He was, like, if Dante Moore enters this draft, that's your quarterback for the New York Jets. Like, he was the number 2 guy. And then number 3, honestly, if Sayin goes in the draft, Sayin's my number 3. Because I've been hearing nothing but great things from the Ohio State's camp, the spring ball camp. They said he looks better than he did last fall, which is scary to think about because up until the playoff, he was extremely good. He was maybe one of the Heisman favorites. And then if Sayin doesn't come out, then I like Carr a lot too. I think Carr would be my number 3. I think I have the same as, no, actually, we switched the 1 and 2, right, Kev? So you had more Arch and Carr, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, so similar top 3, but I like Mensah a lot too, though, Mike. I think he's a strong quarterback. So
there's a lot of mocks that are putting him at number 1 overall, and I mean, that typically, to me means something. So, and also just because
agree with that too, especially because I mean he's going to the system where Cam got his number 1, and I feel like Mensah's kind of the better player than Cam was, like statistically wise. So
at the current moment,
yeah. And,
I mean,
like in. Exactly.
Yeah. And also, I know we like to trash on this man, but Mario Cristobal actually has a well-rounded head on his shoulder. I listened to an interview with him recently, and he runs like an old school program. Like they expect so much out of their players during practice and off the fields. I can see why a team that was like on the cusp of making the playoff actually made a run to the national championship game. Cristobal has them in a good spot, but I mean, if you're an Oregon fan, you'd rather have your current head coach, Dan Lanning, than Cristobal probably. But Cristobal's, to me, I gained a lot more respect for him. I know that's not the conversation, but yeah, let's hear what you guys think. Quarterbacks is a big discussion. We talk about it a lot on this podcast. We would love to hear who you think is the number one quarterback. You can even give us your top three. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, all that good stuff.